Welcome to a special main event of In the Fight. I am Michael Lipinski. I am joined on camera, as you see, by Brett Halpern, and we are also joined by Lenny Rufati, professional fighter out of Roufusport. And you're officially in Wisconsin now, right, Lenny?
Yeah, I moved 2 years ago.
At pride of Cherry Hill High School West, and we are thrilled to have you on the program. Thanks for taking some time out of your day to join us to talk a little bit about mixed martial arts and your journey to pro fighting. I mean, it's pretty cool from someone who coached you when you were a young, impressionable child to where you are now.
Yeah. This is awesome.
So, Lenny, I got to ask, before we get into the MMA journey, what was it like to have Mike as a coach?
He was, I remember he was very enthusiastic. I remember he cared, and he knew I was lost in the sauce, so he always tried to help me. A lot of those kids, they did, football in middle school. I never did. My first year was ever playing football was freshman. I'm not exactly the fastest learner, so he caught on to that quick, but I was very enthusiastic, so I think he appreciated it. He's very helpful.
Absolutely. The first time I saw Lenny, we were in, I don't even think everyone was in pads yet. I think it was like a summer practice. And here's this kid just dropping F-bomb after F-bomb. And I'm like, what is wrong with this kid? And, I went over and I said something to him, and I walked back like, oh, that's Lenny. I'm like, I kind of like him. And they're like, okay. And it's true. I mean, Lenny was great. Yeah. You had to say things a couple times, but dedicated. He was one of my favorite guys. There's a lot of guys on that team that I coached, and that's a long time ago. But one of the guys I really appreciate and I enjoyed coaching, and I'm glad to see you doing well.
Thank you, brother. No, we had a great team. If you remember, we went 9-1 that year. That was awesome. We had a great year. And
then, like every other Cherry Hill West team, from freshman year to senior year, things just fall off. But I think you're doing all right for yourself. We don't have to rehash that. Let's get into it. What got you into this journey to become a professional fighter? What got you into mixed martial arts?
Well, that's a great question. Well, in life, sometimes you hit a bump in the road and unexpected things occur. And then you got to do something to keep yourself busy and happy. And someone suggested to me that I try MMA. They're like, you might actually like it. I called at the time. I was living in Pennsylvania in Chester County. And a friend of mine, coworker of mine, told me, he's like, you should check out this place. It's about 40 minutes away. It's called Method MMA in Maryland, which is on the border of PA and Maryland. I called them up. I'm like, hey guys, I just want to know what I got. I was 240 pounds of fat, by the way. I'm 5'9". So I was like, hey guys, I just want to try. Just put me in the cage with a pro fighter. I'll sign a waiver. I don't care. They're like, this is a death wish, but okay. I signed the waiver. I got in there. Dude whooped my ass, and he had to stop himself from knocking me out. I had years of experience. That was my first thing ever. He's like, but you're tough. So that's the start. I'm like, all right. They didn't think I was going to ever come back. And I came back every day, and I was, that guy cornered me like all my fights after nearly knocking me out. We're like best friends. Yeah, we keep in touch. He's in Maryland. I'm in Wisconsin now, but no, that's how the story started. They're like, nobody does what you did, as in call a freaking gym, ask to get beat up, and then not come. Most people, they don't come back. You came back, and then 1 year of fighting, I was like 6-0 with 3 knockouts. So it was the best amateur on the East Coast for welterweights for a little while.
That's pretty awesome. So when you started, which aspect of MMA did you sort of take to first?
Well, at first, I liked, they told me I punch hard. So I'd like, oh yeah, I'm a striker. I like punching, They called me left hook Lenny, so I was like, that's what I like. But my coach is like, nah, you're short for the weight class. You're safer on the floor. We're more of a jiu-jitsu school anyway. So I had the power in the hands and then takedowns. But I think my favorite aspect of MMA is wrestling, which I wish I freaking wrestled in high school. I never did. I should have. I thought it was too complicated at the time. But no, I love just freaking grabbing a guy and taking him down and going to work. That's what I like.
It's funny you say that. You wish you would have wrestled in high school. I feel like there's a certain age group of people, maybe our age, a little bit older than you, obviously, to your age, where MMA wasn't what it is now. So it didn't have necessarily the popularity. I can tell you if MMA was a little bit more popular and I understood it more when I was in high school at Cherry Hill West, I know I would have wrestled just to get a base of it. I think there's a lot of people like that. So it's interesting that you're more of an MMA fighter. You don't have the wrestling background. You don't have a boxing background or anything like that. You're a true mixed martial artist. You were at Method MMA. You did well there. Talk about the move out to the Midwest and what led you to Roufusport, other than the obvious that it's Roufusport.
Right. But before that, it's funny that you said, because when we graduated in 06, Victor, Ricky, Nick, and all them, and Matt Moran, you remember those guys. They were so big in the UFC, and they still are. They knew all the fighters' first names, last names. And I remember thinking, man, this is stupid. They're just like killing each other like animals. And now they come watch me fight. They get tickets for me to come watch me fight. It's unreal, dude. And those guys, I love them very much. They come to all my fights in Jersey because they're still in Jersey. So, but anyway, so the reason why I moved, I was doing great at Method MMA. To this day, they're like my brothers. The reason why I moved to Wisconsin is because I'm a little old-fashioned, traditional. My father and my sister, out of the blue, bought 2 businesses out in Wisconsin, and they just decided to restart everything. And I'm like, oh, that's crazy. I'm not going out there. There's nothing but, cheese. and then I hear, oh, wait a minute. They're less than an hour away from Duke Roufus, which is one of, the most famous MMA gyms in the world. Anthony Pettis, Tyron Woodley, both MMA champs. I'm like, I'd be crazy not to live at my parents for free and just train all day, every day. I'll drive an hour back and forth if I have to, and that's what I did. And I put my all into it, and I started off great, and I'm doing good again. I started off 3-0. Now I'm 4-2. If I can go get on another good win streak, win my next 2 or 3, who knows what could happen? Maybe, maybe Contender Series or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm 32. The clock is ticking, so I'm not old, but I'm not young. So I want to get as many fights as I can immediately. COVID's not helping.
Yeah, absolutely. So to go back a few steps. So you said when you got to Method MMA, you were 240 pounds of fat, which, by the way, is probably still better than me. But anyways, so how long did it take you to get? Was your first amateur fight at welterweight?
Yeah, so basically, it was actually it was a New Jersey weird weight class. It was 182, but it was same day weigh-ins. So if I were to cut, it'd be welterweight. So pretty much, I've always been a welterweight ever since. But because it was amateur at the time, they had only same day weigh-ins because they didn't want us to cut weight for to be safe or whatever.
Now, under normal non-COVID circumstances, what do you normally walk around at if you're not in fight camp?
Right. COVID fucked me up. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I walk, since I fight 70, I'm very happy and healthy at 95.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so on the day of the fights, you'll weigh in. I mean, I can't imagine doing that cut, but you guys, it's amazing the way you guys are able to do it. On the day of the fight, after you rehydrate, do you get all the way back up to 95, or are you a little bit lighter?
No. So about 190.
Okay.
You weigh in at 170, and I put on a good 15 to 20 pounds.
Wow, that's amazing.
I didn't know any of this existed until I got involved in this crazy world.
Yeah.
But you got to really, really want it. You got to not mind getting hit in the face, and you got to not mind starving every now and then. Basically, you just have to love it. Otherwise, there's no way you can, you can do it because, I mean, come on, there's a lot of risk involved. But
yeah, absolutely.
It does take some willpower on your end because your family is in the restaurant business. Yeah, one of the best chicken sandwiches I've ever had is the Lenny Special from Plaza Pizza in Cherry Hill, which, by the way, I believe is back in your family's hands. Correct?
Yeah. So as soon as I settle here in Wisconsin, get all happy dory, then all of a sudden my dad decides to up it. He's like, oh, they're selling it. My old employee that I sold it to, he's selling it. So I'm going to go back there because I missed the place. I'm like, well, I can't just up and leave. Here I am. I live with my girlfriend. We met a little over a year ago, and she's also training the fight. She was a amateur boxing champ. Now she's switching over to MMA. And so I'm like, I'm not going to just up and leave now, but I do fight in Jersey, so I can see my pops, every time I go out there. And eventually, I'll probably move back. Just while I'm fighting, I want to stay here for now.
Yeah. So I gotta. What was on the Lenny Special?
So the Lenny Special, it was basically a sandwich I made up that I used to eat because I was always a fat kid at heart. It's basically a long roll. Yeah. It's got chicken fingers. You put it on the long roll, and you got to dip the chicken fingers in mild hot sauce. And American cheese, very important. It's American cheese, and and Mike loves it to this day.
That's it. There's nothing. It's not fancy, but it's fantastic.
It sounds really good.
It's funny that you remember that, dude. That was, oh my God, almost 20 years ago, 15 years ago.
We used to get them all the time. The coaches would come in. I still go when I get it elsewhere. I'll say to my wife, she's like, "Oh, what are you going to get?" I'm going to get a Lenny Special. What is that? I'm like, "Oh, buffalo sauce, mild sauce, American cheese." She's like, okay.
Yeah.
I want to back up to Roufusport.
Sure.
We know there are a ton of high quality champion fighters coming out of there. Is there anybody when you got there that you looked at and you said, I want to mimic them. I want to be like them. Or did you kind of take a little bit from everybody and bring it together?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much. I was kind of starstruck at first, and just like, oh man, it'd be great to get to the level where they're at. But generally, I try to watch tape on guys that like to, do what I like to do: punch hard and take down. That's my, generally speaking, that's my game plan. But anything could happen, But no, I looked up to a lot of guys, man. Like I said, I love Woodley's style because he comes actually from wrestling, so he actually knows how to wrestle properly.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's a threat, big threat.
Go ahead, Brett.
But Mike, this one's you. You got to ask this one.
So I saw you posted, I believe, on your Instagram, Lenny, that you were with your friend Phil Brooks, who I marked out because I'm like, oh, I didn't even think about it. I'm like, that's right. CM Punk is a Rufus guy. Lenny is a Rufus guy. How is CM Punk as a fighter? Is he around you guys? He seems like from what you have posted, like a cool dude. And there's stories in the rest.
Super cool, super humble. I imagine all the money he made from WWE, he did not need to do, UFC. He just did it because he loved it and out of passionate. Most men in his position would not have the balls to do what he did. You know what I mean? So I commend him for just getting in the cage. Because he had he's world famous, the guy. Every time I do like an Instagram pic with him or something, people message me out of the woodwork from like China, everywhere. He's like, hey, when's he coming back to wrestling? When's he coming? I'm like, I don't know. Ask him.
I don't know that he would answer that, but
he's awesome. He does train with us. He likes to focus now on he likes to do a lot of jiu-jitsu. We've sparred as well. He's big on jiu-jitsu. He loves it. He's very good at it.
You have actually done a few jiu-jitsu tournaments, haven't you? I remember seeing that you've won a couple grappling tournaments, jiu-jitsu. Where are you as far as your level of jiu-jitsu? What belt are you, and where do you see that going? Is it something that you might split off and do a little bit of that, focus on that a little bit more as well?
Yeah, I mean, once I'm done getting hit in the face and losing as many brain cells as I can possibly handle to lose, then I will probably just, to stay in shape and not to get back to 240 pounds, Lenny, I'll just do jiu-jitsu until I'm old, man. I love that sport. It is the gentle art, and honestly, I'm proud to say 16 MMA fights between 10 amateur and 6 pro. I've never been submitted. I'm very good at not getting submitted. I haven't submitted anyone, but I fought some brown belts and they didn't sub me or nothing. I feel like I have really good defense with it. I'm not the best at getting submissions, but that's okay. It's help for my fights. It helps me get those positions that I need to ground and pound or to control, stuff like that.
Do you have a favorite submission that you've ever pulled off, in training when you're rolling?
Yeah, well, I pretty much do it almost every day. I like to do from side control or crucifix, and I like to do the Americana or the double wrist lock.
Yeah.
It's a muscle move. It's a strongman move. You know, it's
Yeah.
nothing too complicated. That's what I like. So that's what I love. In my last fight, I actually won by doing the crucifix, basically from side control, trapping his arm with my leg, and then just going to town on his face with my fist. And
that's the easiest way to go. Yeah, absolutely.
I like it.
So another thing I had to ask when I was looking up your fights, what is it like? So I know the no nonsense Keith Peterson has ref your fights.
Several of them. Yeah, he announced basically one of my favorite fights ever when I knocked out a kid in the first round. That same kid, he was becoming pro. It was last year. He was coming to pro. His very big aspect. He was 6-0 amateur with 3 knockouts. I actually lost to him as an amateur, and then I ended up beating him as a pro. I had my changed a few things up. I had my 1 year at Roufusport, and he was still at the same gym. So not that any of that matters, but I felt I had good confidence. Yeah, I put him out, man. He had like at least 200 people there, construction workers from Yonkers. He's in the union, so it was nuts, dude. Keith Peterson ref that fight. Yeah.
So is he? I mean, when he's giving instructions and stuff, is he like as serious as like John Anik and all those guys talk about?
Dude, he's awesome.
Yeah,
he's awesome. He smokes freaking cigarettes, and then he comes out to ref a fight. Like, what the hell? He's cool. He's old school, man. I think he also refed. Yeah, he also refed my last one too. The other night. So my 2 professional knockouts that I have, Keith Peterson was the guy. So he's like my good luck charm.
So can you request him moving forward? Be like, hey, I'm going to bring my own personal referee now.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
He's the man.
You mentioned, you talked about crowds and how you fought a guy that had a big union contingent. You're Albanian. You have Albanian descent. I thoroughly enjoy seeing the fandom that people follow you with. I feel it's a parochial thing, right? It's an ethnic thing. People get behind people of their own ethnicity, and it is just really awesome to watch how everyone gets behind you. How does that make you feel? I mean, it's got to get.
I'm shocked. I'm freaking shocked. I'm like, half of them I don't even know them. Just because that we obviously just because we have the same bloodline or we represent the same flag, they love supporting me. Half of them I do know because I have a lot of cousins that live in New York City, first cousins, and then they have kids and brothers and friends, and I'm blessed, man. I'm very blessed that I have family, and then they get the word out. I always bring a crowd to my fights, around 100 people on average, maybe more, some maybe less, No, I'm very grateful. That was the one time somebody brought more people than me was that kid I just talked to you about. And I ended up winning that too. But no, dude, I feel like if I lose, I let them down. So like it's even more pressure, but it's positive pressure. You know what I mean? It's positive pressure, and you hear them. It's just unreal because when times are rough, these sweet times remind you of how good life can be. And how life is a roller coaster.
Yeah, absolutely. So what do you have like a favorite entrance song that you pick out?
So what I do is a lot of times I'll just change it if it's from a movie I just watched or I like it. I never always stick with one. I always change it around stuff I like. I'll even play some Albanian folk music, man, to get the crowd. They hear that.
Nice.
They go nuts. They love it. I did that in my last one, and you saw what happened. So that's what I like to do.
Have you ever been in the cage and one of your opponents picks a song and you're like, what the hell is that? Like, I don't know, like whether it's really good, you're like, man, that's a good song to pick, or like, are you like so in the zone that you don't even hear it?
Exactly. I'm usually so much in the zone. I'm just looking at him. I'm just like, okay, do I have my mouthpiece, cup, everything? All right, let's go. Only one time I remember a song from a guy because it was really loud for some reason, and I was like, man, this song is actually awesome. I was getting ready to dance, so I'm like, wait, hold on, that's his song.
Yeah,
it was a Drake's. No, it was a Kanye West Champion. It was my first title fight. He was, we were both undefeated at the time. Who's my really good friend now, Andrew Johnson. We fought in Delaware. He was kicking my ass all 5 rounds, and then he just gassed out. I ended up getting a takedown. I got on top of him, ground and pound, and I won. I was like, holy shit balls. It was like the best feeling ever, dude. And I actually just saw him last month in Florida. Good friend of mine. Very, we kept touch ever since.
Awesome.
See, that's cool. We talk about that on this program all the time. One of the things we've loved about mixed martial arts as a whole, and this is going back the many, many years when we watched Pride. We're UWFI guys, which we debated whether that's professional wrestling or mixed martial arts. Nobody knows. Is the mutual respect that a lot of fighters, not everybody, obviously, but a lot of people have with each other. And you mentioned it. It takes a lot to get punched in the face. I mean, it's not something everyone wants to do.
You got to have a screw loose to want to do it.
You're absolutely
That's
correct.
Okay. It's therapy for a lot of. I know for me, man, it's mental and physical therapy, brother. I don't know where I would be without the sport. I'd probably be 260, 270.
I know that it's TKO Fitness now, TKO Boxing in Cherry Hill. When it was first the UFC gym, I went in there and nothing serious. I had no aspirations to do any type of professional fighting, but I knew it was good training, so I wanted to try it. And I think that lasted about 2 months, and I was like, I'll just go back to the running and lifting weights because, man, it takes a special breed to do it. And it brought more respect for me to say, these guys are serious. Even if you're an amateur, it doesn't matter. Got to ask you, not anybody that you fought, but who is your favorite fighter of all time? Do you have one?
A guy I look up to, you mean as far as in the UFC and stuff like that?
Yeah, in general. If you said this is a guy that I respect, this, if I had to say this person is my favorite fighter.
Yeah, like I said, but I didn't get into the UFC until I actually started training. Even then, I still didn't know the names of the guys, but I was winning fights via knockout. But now, who I've truly looked up to and just kind of feel like I connected with, because we're kind of in the same, like my parents and him, we're kind of in the same area of the world, but not really, is Khabib Nurmagomedov. I mean, how can you not love the guy? He's freaking 28-0. He's a class act for the most part, other than the one time that he jumped over the cage. But he's just, his father just passed. But the guy's 28-0. It's very difficult to win all your fights. I mean, it takes just one punch to go out. Like I said, I'm already 4-2. I won 3 and then I lost. So it's like, it is not easy to be 28-0, brother. Yeah. And guys are always, ragging on him about his striking isn't crisp. Who gives a shit? His wrestling is good enough. His grappling is good enough to be 28-0, and nobody in the world can ever say that. And he's fought good people now. You can't say he hasn't fought anyone.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
How can you not love this guy? And I appreciate the fact that he's very into his faith and stuff like that. He's very humble. I mean, he's a rare breed. I'm worried he's going to retire soon. I'd like to see him do 2 more, go 30-0, and call it a day. But what do I know?
Yeah, that fight with him and Gaethje will be a great fight.
It's a great fight because I'm worried about him because Gaethje, even though he has college wrestling, which is amazing, he never uses it. He likes to throw hands, but he uses the wrestling to keep it on the feet. So I feel like, remember that one fight Khabib had with Ali Quinta? He had a hard time taking him down, if you recall.
Yep.
It went 5 rounds.
Yeah.
So, and Gaethje has that same level of wrestling or higher and can throw hands. So this is going to be a great fight, man. This is a great matchup, I think, for Khabib. I think Khabib wins just because he always sticks to the same thing, and he does what he's been doing his whole life. You can't catch up to wrestling a bear at age 5. I'm sorry. I didn't pick up MMA until I was 27. This fucker was wrestling bears when he was 5. He's been wrestling ever since. You can't. One training camp of 2 months is not going to prepare you for 20 years of wrestling.
Yeah, I still question the wrestling of the bears. I look, there's all different kinds of training methods. Hey, whatever works. Obviously, it works for him.
Yeah. But
do you have a favorite fight that you've watched? Whether on the regional scene or or on the UFC, Bellator, or Strikeforce back in the day. Was there a favorite fight of yours that you just love watching? You could watch it over and over if someone asked you.
Yeah, well, honestly, live, one of the best fights I've seen was actually I was front row. I had just won via knockout in February.
Mm-hmm.
He's a good friend of mine. His name is Dennis Bazookia. He's a fellow Albanian. He's 4-1 now. He went back and forth with a guy that had triple the amount of fights he did. They fought, for 3 rounds, just bloody mess, just throwing hands. I was like, oh my God, somebody's freaking gonna get hurt here. They were both bloodied and battered. We took a picture together afterwards, and we keep in touch. We talk on the phone all the time. Super nice kid. It was Ring of Combat main event in February. That was
Okay.
it was like holy shitballs, like these guys are going at it,
Well, I'm going to task this with my co-host here because he's the social media expert. We got to find this fight and we got to get it out there on our Twitter and Instagram at In the Fight Show. I got to ask you a two-parter here. Regional MMA, is it bigger in the Midwest or the Northeast? And who's crazier fan base wise? I feel like maybe this is me being partial, but I feel like Philadelphia, New York, New Jersey, we're all a little bit nuts, and probably a good way. But tell me, what do you think there? And this isn't to disparage.
I'll tell you what. I love fighting on the East Coast because that's where I'm from and that's where my people come. Like I was saying, Rick, Nick, family, all of that. But it's pretty big here too, man. It's pretty big here too. It's big all over the country right now. I feel like it's big all over the world because you got LFA out here in the Midwest, and that's huge.
Yeah.
But it's not like because remember we're in Wisconsin. A lot of times that's in Minnesota or something. It's hard to get it's hard to have a respectful big promotion in your backyard. Where we have that in New Jersey. We're very lucky. We have Ring of Combat. We have CFFC. Now Art of War coming up. We got all that, so I would have to say I think it's bigger on the East Coast, man. But and they have great gyms on the East Coast. Thing about it, I remember when I was on the East Coast, I'd have to drive from one gym for wrestling, drive to one gym for striking, drive to one gym for jiu-jitsu. Where here, I'm very blessed. I have everything in one room.
Yeah.
So that's what I like about here.
With everything going on in the world today, I saw Cage Fury Fighting Championships is actually announced they're going to be running shows in Philadelphia with no fans. I don't know if you can talk about it now, but how close are you to getting back in the cage? I know you put some stuff on social media teasing it. Is it going to be sooner rather than later?
Good, great question. So I was supposed to be on it August 12th fighting undefeated Solomon Renfro, but he turned me down. Not to call him out or personal, but you asked the question. I accepted the fight. I spoke with the Arias, which is the matchmaker, and I also spoke with Hamper, which is Sucker Punch, a very big manager. I said, yeah, let's go. I was ready to bang, and he didn't want to do it. I mean, to his defense, he's 5-0. I guess he figures if he wins another one, a safe fight, an easier opponent, maybe then he can, get on Contender Series or get signed in the UFC. So, I mean, I'm kind of bummed out because I could have fought, but at the same time, he respects me. That means, I appreciate that, I guess. So now I'm hoping September for Ring of Combat, as long as freaking New Jersey, your damn governor opens up or does something. It's very difficult in New Jersey right now.
We're going to have Bob Maloney, who you know very well, from my MMA news coming up in the next week or so, and that's going to be part of the conversation with Bob. What is going to happen there with New Jersey? It seems like there's a few workarounds for some of these organizations to get things done. So I'm hoping that we get to see you fighting in New Jersey. It'll obviously have to be streaming because they won't allow people, but I'm definitely looking forward to that.
Oh, yeah. I love Bob. He lives in Cherry Hill. He's good friends with my buddy, Ryan Cafera, who, I went to school with in high school with Ryan Cafera, who's he's awesome. He has the TKO fitness. He's always holding pads for like MMA champions. Like he's the man, man. And he corners me when he can. I'm 3-0 with the guy when he corners me. So, I love Ryan from Cherry Hill and Bob. Bob is awesome. He loves the fighters, man. He truly does. He loves the local regional fighters. You know what I mean? He respects them. He likes seeing them rise, and he's awesome. He's a full-time, he works he's a mailman, but and then he also likes to do, he's very, very much involved with regional MMA, and we all love and respect Bob. What was, I got off on a tangent there. What was your question?
No, when you were coming back, that you answered it.
Yeah.
Okay.
In the next, hopefully in the next 8 to 8 weeks, we get Lenny back in the cage.
Let's pray and hope for September 26th Ring of Combat book with my buddy Frankie Perez and Lou Neglia, man. They run a great show. Ring of Combat, by the way, is the longest running regional MMA promotion, and also they've sent more guys to the UFC than anyone.
Yeah,
I'm very lucky to be. I fought all 6 of my fights with them. They're very good to me, and yeah. So I'm hoping, man. You know, we could do fans, no fans. I don't give a shit. I even told him, I was like, look, you don't even got to pay me. Just maybe expenses would be nice. Just let me fight, man. I got to build, I want to build my record. Let me do it. And I want to fight until I'm about 40.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I got a good 8 years. That's the timeline I'm putting on myself. Who knows? Maybe more, maybe less, but that's what I want to do.
That's awesome.
You mentioned you want to fight till you're 40. What is your thought process here moving forward? How many more fights do you think you need to win to get a shot at a Bellator, a UFC, somewhere a little bit bigger, getting on TV type of deal? Has anyone told you? I mean,
well, my coach Duke Roufus, he was trying to get me on Bellator to Chicago last year. Fell through for one reason or another, and then Bellator this year, Chicago, and then COVID hit. So it was like, dang nabbit, missed my opportunity. But that's okay. Like I said, I'm 4-2 right now. If I can win my next 3 in a row, I can have a good chance at like contender series next summer or something. Why not? And had I not lost twice to the same guy, I'd be 6-0 right now, and I probably could have got on contender right now. But it is what it is.
I got to ask you, your family is real big into the restaurant industry. Tell us, you have a bunch of places out in Wisconsin. We already established Cherry Hill. We're going to push that out there, people to go get their pizza at Plaza in Cherry Hill. What do you have going on out there in Wisconsin?
No, my sister has a business out here. I personally don't have a restaurant right now, but I do have a lot of Albanian friends that own restaurants in Wisconsin that sponsor me and support me. And they're awesome, dude. Like, I literally met the guy at a bar in Milwaukee. I thought he was Greek, and no, he was. And then he sees my ears. He's like, "Are you an MMA fighter?" And I'm like, "Oh God, here we go." I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "You look like you might be Albanian. You're not Albanian, are you?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm Albanian. Why are you Greek? You got a problem?" I was joking with him. He's like, and then he hugs and kisses me. He's like, "No, I'm Albanian. Oh my God, I'm gonna sponsor you." I'm like, he's such a nice guy. His name is Harry. I love the guy.
Is that Prohibition Bistro?
Yes, you got it. Yeah, dude, they're like the only awesome place in as far as authentic dining, and they're great, man. Him and his brother, they own like 3 restaurants.
Yeah, is he the one that got this Roman pizza certificate?
Yes, he is.
Lenny's posting. Everyone else is excited about his stuff on MMA. He's posting pictures of pizza. I'm like, wow, look at this thing. It's a Roman pizza. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. My dad had that pizza shop here. He was doing good, but he ended up, he left and he had to close it down. And I certainly don't have time to run that and be a fighter. I could own a pizza shop again when I'm 40, but I can't fight at the top level when you're 50. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna do everything I can with this now. And I'm young. As far as fighting, I'm young, meaning I haven't been taking damage to my head ever since I was 18. I just started MMA when I was 27, 28 out of the blue, which is, kind of unheard of, but I've been doing great. So I have a fresh body as far as that, now I just got to maintain, eat well and lay off pizza.
Makes sense.
Not easy.
No, definitely not easy. We appreciate you joining us. Where are you on the world of social media? Where can people follow you, get on board with Lenny, the MMA Gorilla, and follow your career?
Appreciate it, guys. And thank you guys very much. And this was, pretty nostalgic considering you're my football coach. It's Lenny the Gorilla, all one word, Lenny the Gorilla, just spelled regular on Instagram. And then Lenny Rufati, Rufati on Facebook. So those are my 2 main things. I'm not too big. I have a Twitter. I'm not too big on Twitter, but like I said, Instagram and Facebook is my jam.
Beautiful. You can follow us on In the Fight Show. We're going to tweet out, we're going to Instagram out Lenny's stuff. Make sure you follow him. And we appreciate you coming on the show. and we're going to be rooting for you. You're going to be one of our guys. We're going to be following you, and I can guarantee you, next time you have a fight, when you say, "Hey, who's looking to put something on the back of a shirt?" you can hit us up.
God bless you, brother. That means a lot, man. Especially coming from my old high school coach. Thank you, man.
Thank you so much, Lenny.
Coach Skirbo came to a fight. It was the first fight I lost. I was like, dang it, I was 6-0. He comes to the 7th one. He's like, oh, man, I'm sorry. I'm the bad luck. I'm like, you're not the bad luck.
You got to tell him he can't show up again. And when you it's already been established, once people are allowed back in the stands in New Jersey where you're fighting, my wife is like, we're going.
Yeah.
I said, you're goddamn right we are.
Thank you, Mike. Appreciate
Lenny,
that.
we appreciate the time, and we will catch you down the road.
Nice
Thanks,
meeting
Lenny.
you, Brett.
Nice meeting you too, Lenny. Take care.
All right.